Okay, first they cut the video, then they try to cut the mic. Okay, fix them both. So, anyways, where was I at? Okay, so when I thought that this alleged family was my family, I was, looking for the alleged support, right? The network that you are supposed to have of community and a safety net. But when your safety net is actually your enemies that have been strategically positioned around you, right, as your family, you know, you're thinking that you have built relationships with people that, you know, are supposed to be that, interwoven, um, you know, ride or dies, or, interwoven group of people that are supposed to collectively be looking out for the best interest and have your best interest at heart. Okay. With that being said, when you find out that that's not the case, okay, and it's basically like having a rug, you know, pulled from up under you. Okay. In some ways. In other ways, I had personally been cutting these people off separately and collectively, off and on for years based off of their, you know, misdeeds towards me, right? So, either way, the moral of the story is, if there are things that you are achieving and people, because you're a high vibrational being, are hating, do not show up for you, just know that some of these people cannot show up because it contradicts them and everything that they have set out to do in the dark. Some of these people have been talking so much mad cash shit about you that showing up would have them looking like a whole, you know what, in the public eye anyway. Right? You don't know what these people have been doing behind. Well, some of y'all do. Some of y'all do because, you might be really intuitive if a chosen one. You gifted. You have, So once all of these things come to light, though, you have become your own cheerleader. There was, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to digress and tell you guys a story. One time I was, speaking to this guy. He was dropping me off at my place, and he had asked me about my future endeavors or whatever, and some of my goals or whatever. And when I asked him about his, he stated that he could not tell me because it was something that he only kept to himself. He did not tell his goals to anyone. And in that moment, I was like, okay, well, there was a time that I was pretty much like that, but I was coaxed out of being like that by some fake family members, okay? Um, Based off of, them stating, well, if you don't tell anybody what you're doing, then, you may not be able to have, business partnerships and, collaborations and things like that, right? Which can be true, but sometimes when you collaborate and have business dealings as well, it could be saboteurs and them ready to sabotage what you're doing too. So you have to use your intuition and be wise about it. However, the wisest thing is what he said and not telling anybody, because the simple fact is that it's like a seed. It has to grow, right? And you don't want nobody plucking that seed out of the ground. You don't want nobody, coming and putting poison down, on in your ground, where you planted the seed. You know, you don't need anybody attempting to project negativity, do spell work, try to talk you out of your dreams, uh, try to plant seeds in your mind of self-doubt and all these other things. So anyways, I just wanted to go on a tangent with that, because that is the fastest way to destroy your goals and dreams, is telling somebody else. Sometimes the main one you want to trust with that kind of information is the main one doing the hocus pocus in the background and throwing stones and hiding their hands in the background. So yeah, you want to keep it to yourself. Okay, whatever you got going on, keep it to yourself. And people have been really, really trying to find out what I'm doing. None of their business. Mind your business. You should have enough business to keep your ass out of mine. I'm just saying, you should have enough business to keep your ass out of my business. Okay? My business is not your business. Excuse me. My business is not your business. What is it to you? What have you done for me? What have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah. Listen, you ain't done shit for me. You don't pay no bills. You don't, you ain't bought me nothing. You ain't even bought me a water. You just what is it to you? What do you need to know for? Why? Oh, you just nosy? Or you a saboteur? Which one is it? Because most nosy ones, they're probably with the hidden hand shit in the first place. Okay? So, I'm just saying, keep it to yourself. Okay? Because I'm telling you, you will succeed. You've already been succeeding. Listen, let me just tell you some of the successes I've had, okay? Listen, first of all, I beat 95% of the foster youth statistic that they don't become successful at all, okay? 95% of the foster youth, group home youth, never become successful. That is a absolute system failure rate. You would never go to a doctor. You would never go to any other profession, and they have a 95% failure rate. The system has been failing children the whole time, baby, and somehow people have it in their minds that foster care, CPS, group homes, all this stuff, like, helps children. Okay? When all the stats are stacked against it. Shit, CPS was in the Epstein files too. Why are you playing? Okay, anyways, I beat 95% of the statistics against foster youth and became an elite master fitness expert with 7 nationally accredited certifications. Okay, you only need 1 certification to train anywhere in the world. I have 7. Okay, I also am an established fine artist. I've done exhibits and I've done art shows in many different cities. I became a women's professional football player for shits and giggles. Okay? For shits and giggles. Yes. For the little TalIsa. Okay? Because I was over the Roman circus. I have authored, illustrated, and self-published an activity ebook. An interactive activity ebook. The first of its kind. Making history with that. There's so many different certifications that I've achieved over the years that I even forgot about some of them until sometimes I'll be talking to people. I'll like, oh yeah, I had a photography like Kodak certification to actually produce film. I forgot about that. I used to mix chemicals and all this stuff for the machines. I was certified in that. There's so many certifications I have achieved. Business certification. I mean, there are a lot. Okay? So I'm just saying, regardless of if people are clapping for you or not, keep going. It's not for them, it's for you. And if you have children, it's for your babies. Right? I have been building in silence, and I plan to keep it that way. It's none of your business. It's not none of your business. Oh, I don't know. I think there's a song, some business. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, I can't think of it right now. It escapes me, but it's a good song. Back in the day, the old people used to say when women were revealing and wearing too scantily of stuff, they'll be like, oh, she's showing her address, social security number. She's just showing all her business. Okay? You ain't supposed to be showing all your business, and you ain't supposed to be telling all your business. Okay? I talk a lot, but, I'm going to speak and say a whole bunch of stuff without telling you anything that is about my business that you could try to sabotage. Because I learned my lesson. And that was a hard one to learn, because I used to feel good about sharing. And you know what? There's also a psychological, I guess you could say, brain rewarding system that happens as well when you tell people. It's like you get the release of hormones when you tell people of what you're doing, the same way as if you had already achieved it. The same hormones release when you tell them, and it's when you tell them and you haven't achieved it yet, you're still getting that same rush of hormones, which also discourages you to want to continue, because you've already gotten the self-gratification of the rush of the hormones that is the same as succeeding. So then what then is there in succeeding and doing it when you have already achieved that emotional and hormonal psychological release? Your brain doesn't know the difference. The release in hormones is the same. So that in itself, it discourages you from actually, so don't tell nobody. Do not tell nobody. Once it is complete, and some people, they don't even tell people that they're pregnant until the baby's like 3 months old. Okay? Because then the baby is, a vital baby. It's, so, you got to protect. There's some real scandalous witches and warlocks. I'm gonna sing y'all my new song, okay? Bruja, brujo, yo mira ti, bruja, brujo, yo mira ti. Okay, anyways, I just made that up the other day, and so that's my personal song. If you want to sing it, give me credit, because that's my shit. Okay. Anyways, I got a couple more remixes of stuff that I kind of do. But anyways, that is original mine, and I be singing it to these witches and warlocks when they are doing shit in real time. I be singing it because they know what I'm talking about as I'm singing it. So, anyways, I'm going to end this video. Remember, 444, when I looked at the timestamp, 1444, meaning you are protected, but you also got to be wise and stay protected yourself. You got to keep your dreams and goals and your mouth protected. Okay? All right. Peace.